In the quiet suburb of Carrollton, Texas, an unsettling event unfolded in October 2024 that left residents deeply disturbed. A couple, whose names have been withheld for privacy, experienced a night of terror that would forever change their sense of security. It was a typical Friday evening when the couple settled into their living room to watch a movie. The neighborhood was serene, with only the occasional sound of distant traffic breaking the silence. As the clock approached midnight, an unexpected chime echoed through the house. The doorbell. Given the late hour, the couple exchanged puzzled glances, curiosity mixed with apprehension as they approached the door. Before opening it, they checked the doorbell camera feed on their smartphone. What they saw sent chills down their spines. Standing on their doorstep was a figure dressed in a devil costume, complete with large horns and glowing yellow eyes. The individual held a sign displaying a Bible verse, Revelation 20:1-15, passages that speak of the apocalypse and judgment day. The figure stood motionless, staring directly into the camera. After a few moments, he rang the doorbell again and then began to knock, each rap louder and more insistent than the last. The couple, paralyzed by fear, remained silent, hoping the intruder would leave. Instead, the figure walked away from the front door, disappearing from view. Minutes felt like hours as the couple remained huddled together, debating their next move. Suddenly, a noise from the back of the house startled them. The man in the devil costume had entered their backyard and was now standing at the back door, peering in through the glass. He held up the sign once more, pressing it against the door, his eyes never leaving theirs. The husband dialed 911, whispering urgently to the operator about their situation. The dispatcher advised them to stay hidden and assured them that officers were en route. Meanwhile, the figure outside began to tap on the glass, a slow, deliberate sound that echoed through the silent house. After what felt like an eternity, the sound of sirens pierced the night. The figure glanced toward the front of the house, then calmly walked away, disappearing into the shadows of the backyard. The police arrived moments later, but despite a thorough search of the area, the man was nowhere to be found. The Carrollton Police Department labeled the event as an isolated incident and urged residents to stay vigilant and report any suspicious activities. There was no immediate investigation, and it remained unclear whether the act was a prank or something more sinister. In the days that followed, the couple couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. Every creak of the house, every rustle outside, set their nerves on edge. They installed additional security measures, but the sense of violation lingered. Neighbors shared their own stories of strange occurrences, unfamiliar footprints in their yards, unexplained noises at night, but no one else had encountered the devil figure. The incident became a topic of local gossip, with theories ranging from a Halloween prankster to a disturbed individual with a dark agenda. Some speculated about cult activities, while others believed it was an elaborate hoax designed to instill fear. Despite the myriad of theories, no concrete answers emerged. As weeks turned into months, the memory of that night remained vivid for the couple. They questioned their decision to move to what they once believed was a safe neighborhood. Trust was eroded, and the simple act of answering the door became a source of anxiety. The man in the devil costume was never identified, and his motives remain unknown. The chilling encounter serves as a stark reminder of the unpredictable nature of real-life horror, where the most unsettling events often have no explanation, leaving those affected to grapple with the lingering fear of the unknown. In the aftermath, the couple sought therapy to cope with the trauma. They connected with others who had experienced similar unexplainable events, finding solace in shared stories. While the fear gradually lessened, the experience left an indelible mark, a haunting reminder that sometimes the most terrifying horrors are not from tales of fiction, but from the inexplicable events that occur in our own backyards. The Carrollton incident remains unsolved, a modern-day mystery that continues to haunt the community. It stands as a testament to the fact that true horror doesn't always come from the supernatural, but can emerge from the eerie and unexplainable moments that defy understanding, leaving us to question the nature of reality and the unknown dangers that may lurk just beyond our doorstep. As of today, no further sightings of the devil figure have been reported, and the case has faded from active investigation. Yet, for those who lived through that night, the memory remains a chilling reminder of the thin veil between normalcy and the inexplicable, a true horror story etched into the annals of their lives. In the quiet suburb of Cedar Ridge, Minnesota, nothing much happened, or so its residents thought. Known for its manicured lawns and friendly neighbors, Cedar Ridge seemed immune to the violence that plagued larger cities. But in February 2023, this facade shattered with the discovery of a brutal crime that would haunt the community for years. Molly Simmons, a 27-year-old nurse, had moved to Cedar Ridge seeking peace after a chaotic breakup. She worked the night shift at the local hospital and was known for her warmth and resilience. Her colleagues described her as a light in the darkness, someone who could comfort even the most distressed patients. But Molly's promising life took a dark turn on a night that started like any other. At 7 p.m. on February 15th, Molly left for work. She parked her car in the hospital's lot and walked inside, unaware of the man watching her from a nearby shadow. Unbeknownst to her, this man, later identified as Christopher Hale, was no stranger to Cedar Ridge. Hale had a history of arrests for stalking and burglary, though none of his crimes had escalated to violence. Until now. Around 3 a.m., Molly stepped outside for a quick break. Surveillance footage later showed her scrolling through her phone, pacing the lot as she spoke with a friend. It was during this time that Hale approached her, wielding a crowbar he had stolen earlier from a construction site. What followed was an act of violence so sudden and brutal that investigators later described it as explosive. Hale struck Molly multiple times before dragging her to a secluded corner of the lot. The attack lasted only minutes, but its impact was devastating. By the time hospital security found Molly, she was unconscious, with severe head injuries. Paramedics rushed her inside, but despite their efforts, she succumbed to her wounds by dawn. The Cedar Ridge Police Department launched an immediate investigation. Witness statements, security footage, and forensic evidence quickly pointed to Hale, who was apprehended just 2 days later. He was found hiding in an abandoned warehouse, still in possession of Molly's phone and other personal items. During his interrogation, Hale's behavior oscillated between smugness and incoherence. He claimed that Molly had invited the attack through imagined slights and rejected advances. This delusional justification only fueled the public's outrage, as Molly had no known connection to her attacker. The trial began in September 2023 and became a focal point for debates on mental health and criminal justice reform. Prosecutors painted Hale as a dangerous predator who had manipulated legal loopholes to avoid harsher consequences for his prior crimes. The defense argued that Hale suffered from untreated schizophrenia, which blurred his ability to distinguish reality from delusion. The jury deliberated for 3 days before convicting Hale of first-degree murder, sentencing him to life in prison without parole. For Molly's family, it was a small measure of justice, though it could never fill the void left by her absence. In the aftermath, Cedar Ridge grappled with its shattered sense of safety. Vigils were held in Molly's honor, and her co-workers established a scholarship in her name for aspiring nurses. Her story also sparked changes in hospital security protocols nationwide, including improved surveillance and better lighting in parking areas. Though Hale remains behind bars, the community still wrestles with the why of it all. How could such an act occur in a place so serene? The answer, perhaps, lies in the chilling unpredictability of human nature, a reminder that even in the quietest corners, darkness can lurk unseen. The double homicide of Maggie and Paul Murdaugh on June 7, 2021, sent shockwaves through South Carolina and the nation. Alex Murdaugh, a powerful attorney from a family that had dominated the legal and judicial landscape in the Lowcountry for over a century, stood accused of their brutal murders. On that summer evening, Alex Murdaugh claimed he found the bodies of his wife, Maggie, 52, and son, Paul, 22, near the kennels on their 700-acre estate in Islandton, South Carolina. Paul was shot at close range with a shotgun, while Maggie was killed by multiple rounds from a semi-automatic rifle. Initially, Murdaugh portrayed himself as a grieving husband and father. He called 911, his voice quivering, claiming he had just discovered their lifeless bodies. This veneer of innocence, however, began to crumble under scrutiny. Evidence collected by authorities exposed a different narrative. A video retrieved from Paul's phone, recorded minutes before the murders, captured Alex's voice near the crime scene, contradicting his claims of being elsewhere at the time. The prosecution argued that Alex murdered his wife and son to divert attention from his unraveling financial schemes. The investigation revealed that Murdaugh had stolen nearly $9 million from his law firm and clients, fueling a lavish lifestyle and covering up debts. His financial crimes were coming to light, and the murders were seen as a desperate attempt to garner sympathy and delay inquiries. The trial began in early 2023, captivating millions. Murdaugh's defense argued that the case was built on circumstantial evidence and lacked a clear motive. They suggested alternative suspects, pointing to threats against Paul due to his involvement in a 2019 boating accident that had resulted in the death of a young woman, Mallory Beach. On March 2, 2023, after a 6-week trial, a jury found Alex Murdaugh guilty of both murders. The judge sentenced him to 2 consecutive life terms. During sentencing, the judge remarked on the stark fall from grace of a man who had once been a respected figure in his community. Beyond the murders, the case exposed systemic corruption and privilege within the Murdaugh dynasty. For decades, the family wielded unchecked power in the local legal system, enabling Alex to cover up misdeeds ranging from financial fraud to suspicious deaths linked to the family.